Okay, guys, rev up your engines because today we have another huge Lego build to premiere on the channel. This is Bricks and Toys, and I am Brandon, and let's get started. Today we are going to tackle some American muscle, the Camaro Z28, 1969. As I said before, I am a car guy. I love cars. I grew up building cars. Some of my most notable works are a couple 57 Chevys and a 1977 Trans Am SE. Yes, the Bandit, and yes, I verified the VIN numbers when I helped my dad buy the car. It had the Hearst hatches and everything, if you know what I mean. So I grew up in small towns, classic rock, mullets, second and third gen Firebirds and Camaros everywhere. I'm going to be honest with you. Camaros were usually parts cars to keep our Firebirds and Trans Ams running. As you know, they share a lot of similar components, and that's just how we rolled. Growing up, I never once worked on or did anything with a first gen Camaro. I wish I had the opportunity, but my old man was more into the second generation and newer. So, this is one of my dream cars next to a 69 Mustang as well as a 70 Camaro, the body style after this one. So to get to do this build is super exciting. I look so forward to cutting this box open and getting started. Super stoked. A few fun facts before we get started about the first gen Camaro is it started in 1967 to compete with Ford's Mustang. It started off the pony car era, which went into the muscle cars, and every year 67, 68, and 69 they all have a little bit of a difference. One notable difference is when the car first premiered in 1967, it did have a triangular window in the doors, just to kind of like vent air. I know by 1969 they removed that. I'm not sure if they removed it in 1968. Another fun fact is in 1968 they did add the marker lights in the front fenders, and that also carried over into the 69 model year, as well as the unique imprinting in the rear quarter panel behind the front door. So that's kind of how you can tell the 67, 68, and 69 all apart. So enough with the fun facts. Let's go ahead and let's cut this bad boy open and let's take a look at what's in the box. As you all know, this is my most favorite part of every Lego build. Just getting it all out on the table. Now, we got to collect some tires, it looks like. I just hope I don't get too tired. Get it? So now that we have all 4 tires, we can set those aside and re-tire. Okay, that's enough tire puns for one day. So let's see how many bags we have. We have an 8, 4, 5, 3, 2. So it looks like we have a total of 8 bags. Now I did find this interesting little thing in here. Let's take a look at what this is. We are making our package more sustainable. We're transitioning from single-use plastic to paper-based packaging. As we progress, you may find a mix of paper and plastic in our boxes. I really find it funny how companies like to use more things trying to be sustainable. It's kind of like how Apple announced we're removing the charging brick from the phones, but yet they changed the cord completely to need another brick. So you still need the brick, thus, you're not really saving anything. It's kind of funny they kind of did that here. Here's more paper and more ink to print and probably more cost. But I'm here to build Legos and not talk about Fortune 500 companies and all their greed and horseradish. So it looks like we do have some stickers. It looks like they give us a couple options for the rear plate. Looks like they got some type of like magazine cover that's probably going to go with this, and a bunch of Z28 stickers and just the normal hubbub. Pretty cool. Looks like about 17 stickers total on this sheet. So not a lot of stickers for a build this big. Usually you get over like 30 in a Speed Champions card. It's kind of like this is a lot. Overall, the bags, they look great. It looks like bag 1 has the most heft. So that's really good. I'm looking forward to all of this. I like how everything's within the bags. There's not like a number 1 bag and then a smaller number 1 bag. I like how there's just 8 bags, 8 steps, done. So let's clear off this table and let's take a look at the book. So here we have the book. It's got pretty good thickness to it. And of course, as soon as we open up the book, as you would expect for a build of this type, we do have a lot of facts about the car. And it says here, it talks about the pony cars and their traditions and what they're known for. It also shows the lineup of all the Camaros. That's pretty cool. Honestly, to me, the Camaro died in 2002, and everything from 2010 forward is basically just why. I mean, if it's not an F body, then what's the point? Because that's the true Firebirds, Camaros, and plus, I get how you took out the Pontiac division of GM, but you can't really have the Camaro without the Firebird. They kind of both go with a G body chassis. So I don't really look at the new Camaros and go, wow, I got to have one of those. I'd rather have a Mustang or I would say a Challenger, but too many drug dealers own those. So I'll stick with the crowd killer Mustangs. Anyway, message from the design team. And it looks like a picture of a man in his 30s playing with Legos. Makes me feel better about myself being in my 30s and playing with Legos. It does go over the iterations of the car. It does look like it gives you the chance to have it with like the RS headlights where it kind of covers up the headlight. And then there's a Z28 layout of where it has the headlights. And then it has basically the RS headlights with the convertible. And I do know you can change the racing stripes from white to red to also gray. So it's nice to have those options. So let's take a look here. So we are looking at about 338 steps and 219 pages. So not too bad, but still, this is going to be a little bit of work. But that's where the good news comes in, because for me, that's about 3 to 4 hours, and for you, it's a few minutes on a time lapse. So let's go ahead and let's kick on the time lapse, and let's build this sucker. So while we are in time lapse, I just wanted to do a quick voiceover and explain how I like to build Legos. How I like to do it is I like to go by the steps of the bags 1 through 8 in this particular case. And I like to keep everything divided. So if, say, bag number 1 has smaller bags inside of it, or there are other bags labeled number 1 that are smaller. Smaller usually means smaller pieces. And what I like to do is keep those smaller pieces in their own individual piles and then keep one large pile of the pieces that were loose in the original bag. This helps me as I go through the steps signify if the step calls for a small piece, I know to look in one of the one or two small piles, or if it looks for a bigger piece, usually I find that in the bigger piece pile. So it kind of makes it a little bit quicker and a little bit easier of where to be expecting to get those parts from as I hit those steps. And the way that Lego does everything is there are multiple steps per bag, and in this particular case, like I said, there are 8 bags with multiple steps per bag. So I just thought I'd put that little tidbit of information in there just in case you are wondering, in case you never opened up your own box of Legos. That's how I do it, and that's kind of how the process goes. Now back to some cool music. And there we have it. The 1969 Camaro Lego set. I knocked this out in about 4.5 hours. Just went straight through it, took 2 5-minute breaks, and got it done. So, right off the top, elephants in the room, I did go with the non convertible version. Not a big fan on convertibles. I just like a roof. And the second option that I did go with, actually, there was one more after this, is I did go with the reddish brown racing stripes. The reason being is that the interior is mostly a reddish brown color. So to me, that just made a lot more sense. The white and the gray are nice, but to me, this is just cohesive. And the third and final customization that I did make is the license plate. I did go with a California license plate because I am California born, so got to go from my home state there. Not where I live now, but taxes. It's too expensive there. So let's dive in to the details of this build. There is quite a few that I have to point out. So it does have a functioning trunk. Functioning if I put it together right. There we go. And a functioning hood. It does reveal a quite amount of good trunk space, and it does reveal that nice V8 engine. Pretty sick stuff. Put those back down. Make sure it's working fine. The doors do open, and they have a really unique hinge mechanism where there's a some type of like support here at the bottom that kind of gives it a smooth feel. I did find that really unique, so that's pretty cool. And let's remove the roof and let's dive into the interior and show you the features in the interior that I found pretty unique. One really cool thing, the pair of dice on the mirror. All classic cars gotta have those, especially with the way I was raised. We always had dice on the mirror of all of our hot rods. Steering wheel, it does steer the car. Pretty cool. Now, one cool little thing, I'm going to try to get it in frame for you, is these seats. This is why I love Lego, by the way. The designers and the people that put their time into these sets, I thank you guys greatly. The seats actually fold forward. And the reason being is on the actual car, I don't think the whole seat folds forward. I've never seen that before, but at least for this and the actual car, some part of the seat does have to go forward to allow passengers to enter into the rear of the vehicle. And the fact that they put that in here is a huge high five. Like, attention to detail on that, 10 out of 10. Another thing I did want to point out, they did put door strikers in for the doors to kind of catch it. Don't drop this. But right here, they put door strikers in. So to me, that is another excellent attention to detail. Another cool attention to detail with this build is the little hot rod magazine in the back seat. That's actually put on with a stud, so it's not going anywhere. If you remember when I earlier in the video, I did talk about there being a hot rod magazine sticker. Well, that is where it goes. Very simplistic dashboard. I do think the attention to the detail of the seats is quite remarkable. They kind of made you do this weird brick structure on each of these steps to build the seats. So the seats have a texture as if they would from like the original. I thought that was really, really cool. Let's put our roof back on. Yeah. Come on, buddy. There we go. Easy as that. Take a look at the underside of the build. A lot of Technic pieces that's normal to be found. I did recognize the lower air dam right here, definitely Technic. I just did that on the Bugatti Bolide, if I pronounce that correct. The new one that they just released this year. The wheels, they look very nice, traditional of the 60s. The back is pretty cool. One of the cool things I do like about Lego builds, and honestly, since I'm an honest person, I just learned this today from my wife. In the build books, they actually put facts about what you are building. Earlier today, she was building the plants. And in the plants, it was telling you what specific plant you're building and things about it. And that made me go back into when I did this build, actually check the upper corners of the build book. And in the build book, it's all written out for you. And a few of the cool facts I did find out about this car that I didn't really know is this car was not assembled in Detroit. It was assembled in Ohio and Van Nuys, California. I did find that really unique. So, again, me being a California boy, it would be cool to have one of these maybe built in California one day. It's from where I'm from. Another cool fact I did find out is before it was named the Camaro, it was codenamed Panther. Thought that was kind of cool. If you look at modern day cars, you have the Ford Raptor and you have the Dodge T Rex. And the thought about that is the T Rex can eat the Raptor. So maybe they were thinking the Panther could take out the Mustang. And I'm kind of glad they didn't go with that idea. because I read in some source of the word Camaro means friend. And another fact I did read from the book that I never really put two and two together is it does keep with the C names of their cars, which was like the Corvette, the Corvair, the Chevelle, and as you know, the Camaro. So I just had to share those facts. I'm a huge fact guy. Pretty cool. So this is the 69 Camaro at Lego. They are currently $169.99. I do think that is an incredible build for that price. And if you have any comments or any questions, drop them down below. I will try to answer as many as possible. And I appreciate you checking out this video. Again, this is Bricks and Builds. I am Brandon. You all have a good one.